Hey, it's Aaron. I'm in the city again. How unfortunate. And it's raining cats and dogs, but that's fine because today I want to talk a little bit more about this whole Cointelpro thing and give you a little bit more information about it because I think that it's very interesting and people seemed intrigued about the whole topic when I brought it up yesterday. I got a lot of really good attention from it. I got a lot of positive feedback, and I was hoping that I could give a little bit more information about it today. Now, if you want an in-depth analysis on the whole Cointelpro thing and how it affects black activists and people in the black community, check out the video in the description box below. It's from a YouTuber named Angi Speaks. Angi Speaks is absolutely amazing. Her video content is fantastic. If you're subscribed to me and not subscribed to her, go subscribe to her because that doesn't make any sense at all. And definitely let her know that I sent you. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about the whole aspect that this Cointelpro organization has with not just the black community, but with more right-wing authoritarian extremist groups today. So for those of you who don't know, a little bit of background information, Cointelpro was an FBI organization, basically a program that was created way back in the Cold War. And its goal was to discredit, disrupt, destroy, dismantle, and disparage, every D word, socialist, communist, and anarchist groups, as well as Black Panther groups, feminist groups, basically any other group that was looking for social change. And they used all kinds of tactics to do that, all the way from discrediting campaigns, disinformation campaigns, planting evidence, and basically sowing division, all the way up to wiretapping, full-on interrogations, and even assassinations of their leadership. It was an incredibly dangerous and scary time for anybody if they wanted to be a socialist, a communist, a progressive, any person that was interested in social change, especially if you were black. They specifically targeted a lot of black nationalist groups and considered them to be black hate groups. Like I said, check out Angi Speaks video. It goes into that way more than I have time to do here. So it went all the way from these discrediting campaigns all the way up to wiretapping and finally to assassinations. One of the people that were assassinated was an individual named Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was an incredibly important person in the black liberation movement. He was seen as being an incredibly good orator. He was incredibly good at speaking, and he was able to gain solidarity with all sorts of groups. He was able to actually bring people together because he was such a good speaker. He was able to bring people together and get them to be motivated to work with one another to make actual social change. He was an incredibly important activist, an incredibly important person. Look him up. I'll leave a link to his Wikipedia page in the description box below because he was absolutely influential, and the FBI and the government knew this. They seen him as being a sort of black messiah character, him along with a lot of other black activists at the time, and they thought that if the black people were able to get together and join their forces with one another and find some sort of leadership that could help them make a difference and make some sort of change in real life, then that would actually be incredibly detrimental to the state. So they used overwhelming force to destroy Fred Hampton and every other group that was involved with him. Like I said yesterday, involving themselves in disinformation campaigns, sowing division, making sure that these groups would not have any chance of getting together with one another and actually forming solidarity and building unity and alliances. That's the whole point of Cointelpro, at least it was at the time, was to discredit and destroy these organizations any way that they possibly could. Now, one of the other tactics that they used was actually working with white supremacist and neo-Nazi organizations or anti-communist organizations, so they could basically launch this full-on war against anybody that was working towards solidarity of the people. These anti-communist organizations and ultra-nationalist organizations helped the FBI in doing all sorts of illegal activity to communist groups that the government couldn't directly do themselves. And that's a tactic that the United States has used for many, many years. They hire other countries and militant groups and all sorts of terrible people all over the world to do terrible, heinous things that they wouldn't be caught doing themselves because, well, that's bad optics. So they hired these groups and they got them to do a lot of these terrible, heinous things. This specific group that they were working with, that there is documentation on, was called the Minutemen. And very similar to today, we have something like that going on now. If you look at Black Lives Matter, they are constantly being discredited, dismantled, destroyed. The members are constantly being tracked and falsely imprisoned. If you look at Antifa groups, they don't have groups. They don't even have a leadership. They just form. You look at a lot of the members, again, they don't have members, but you look at a lot of the people that do Antifa action, they are also being targeted in this same exact way, discredited, destroyed. Antifa is being, well, first of all, considered a group, and as a group, it's being demonized and dismantled and taken through the ringer every time you watch anything on the news. And if you notice, groups like the Proud Boys and other Odinist organizations and white supremacist and neo-nationalist and neo-Confederate and all of these neos, they are all getting a lot of government support every time they go to any event. They always have police escorts. They always have, the police are always treating them with kid gloves. There's even video documented footage. I've seen this on Twitter. Hopefully I can leave a description about that too, or a link in the description about that too, where there are actual members of the Proud Boys fist bumping cops as they're walking down the street. This kind of stuff happens all the time, and that's because these groups work very well for the state. They're all in bed together. They all work very well together. The state knows that if communist, socialist, anarchist groups are able to just do their thing, if black groups are able to get together with one another, then they're going to create all sorts of problems for the state. So the state makes sure that they hire these Odinist groups, these white supremacist groups, these white nationalist groups to fight them. And even if they don't directly know that that's what's happening, they're all in bed together. They all kind of have this little bit of an agreement. The same people that are railing against all of these communists and all of these socialists and all of these anarchists are all driving home in the same van that have that thin blue line bumper sticker on the back. So you got to know that this is a tactic that the government has used all the way from the beginning, and it's a tactic that they've continued to use even after Cointelpro, the program itself, was dismantled, and they use it all the way up until today. It's just basically the modus operandi of the state. It's how it goes about doing its, it's just how it goes about functioning. So that's basically all I wanted to talk about, give you a little bit more information about this whole Cointelpro thing. I think it's interesting, and if you have more information about it, leave it in the description box below. Hopefully, if you're watching this video and you want more information, you can read some of the comments. They'll tell you some more information about it too, because it's pretty crazy. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Aaron. If you do get a chance, check me out on Patreon. Every dollar helps fund this show. Thanks for watching.